Well, hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm so excited to be here for our June episode. Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy beginning of the month already. I think we're probably gonna have plenty to talk about tonight. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. If you haven't been to this call before, let me tell you what you're in store for. So what we do here is we solve all kinds of mysteries with the pink dot, the blue dot, the technical side of Healy. And I have the distinct pleasure of having our head of operations, Jake Barron. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
You can. Hey, everyone, welcome.
Yay, as a co-host. And then we have Michael in the background.
Yes.
All right. Michael from our tech support team is here live. And I'm telling you what, folks, we do solve some mysteries. So make sure that you have your questions ready. This is a chat-based forum. So basically, you're going to put your questions in the chat. And, if we don't get to them, these questions are saved and analyzed and then still found solutions for down the road, because all the stuff that we do here supports the customer service department and the development of solutions and things for the field. So don't be shy to put it in there, and we'll certainly do our best to get to the call or those questions and answer them. What we can't do is we can't treat, diagnose, or prevent any kind of disease. We're not really going to be able to talk about programs assigned to disorders or dysfunctions or things within alignments, but we can talk about how they work. We can talk about all kinds of things. And believe me, we've unpacked some pretty fun stuff. So with that, how about we get this party started? Anybody ready?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. And the chat is fired up. Let's see, right out of the bat. Oh, hey, there's a question that came to me privately. You guys put them into the main basic forum so that we can unpack these. So the question about how can I'm not finding the links in Telegram for recordings the last What's Up Wednesdays and the Tech Tip Tuesday stuff. So that's because Jake has created an amazing YouTube page with lots of great resources. And I just put, by the way, today, a full-on description of our Team Healy USA page, all the access links, including the YouTube channel, because all the recordings are there on the YouTube channel. So go ahead and go take a look at the Telegram group. Look at that big old long post that I just put out there today. And gives you all the resources for the links for the calls and the link for the YouTube channel for all the recordings. So, and they're really cool because Jake has taken those calls, sectioned them by keywords, content within the call, and then put a hyperlink right there that you can actually share with yourselves use for yourselves or share with others. So super great resource.
And while you're mentioning the Healy World Americas page on YouTube, I want to show something real quick. It's a continuation of something from last week, actually. So let me just share my screen here. And this is our YouTube page, Healy World Americas. This is one of the videos. So if you remember on last week's Tech Tip Tuesday, somebody said, is there a video on how to do a device transfer? And I said, no. But that's a great idea. So, one of the things that was mentioned on the call was a great suggestion. And then Miguel from our tech support team actually put together a video here that's now available on Healy World Americas. A short video takes you through all the steps. And then in the details of the video, it has the exact instructions of what needs to be done in order to do a device transfer. So if you go through this video, it kind of it shows you each of the steps. You go to the support center, and it shows which categories to pick, orders, and then device transfer. So very easy to follow. If you ever have any questions or need to refer back to it, it is now there. So if you go to Healy World Americas, it's the most recent video, the one that was uploaded today, how to request a Healy device transfer in support center. So
wow, I mean, that's like quick. Look at that. You guys are powerful manifestors. That was super quick. Somebody asks and boom, there you go. You receive.
Yeah.
I love it. And there's some other great tips on there too. Like for instance, how to create a support ticket, right? I mean, there's another video about that. So Super great stuff, you guys. Definitely take advantage of that. And you can grab a big old bowl of popcorn and binge watch all kinds of stuff if you want to. And I promise you, you're going to learn something. If you haven't tried it, prove me wrong. Give it a shot. And if you don't learn something, you give me a note and I will take you out to lunch. No, all right, let's get this going. What else we got?
There's a question about the Pink Dot app. Says sometimes when she selects a program, it jumps to the main menu and does that no matter how many times or what program they select. And if they delete the program and download and install a new one, it works, but this can come back. And they asked, is this a known bug? And Michael mentioned that this issue has been reported and it's something that's being worked on. But one of the workarounds that you can do is if you are actually in the Pink Dot app and having this issue, if you just go to your phone and turn off the Wi-Fi or the cellular, put your phone in airplane mode, it should be able to go to the program and actually load it at that time. I've actually troubleshooted and tried it that way, and it does work. And I know for most people that is a sort of a quick workaround as well. So turn off basically the internet connection and put it in airplane mode, and it should be able to bypass that particular bug.
You know, there's another thing I want you guys to take a look at too. If you're experiencing app issues, whether it's a blue dot, pink dot, I mean, maybe it's some of your other apps on your smart device, maybe even your texting is acting funny. Take a look at the memory left on your device, your smart device. I can't tell you how many times that I find the resources are consumed. Like let's say you have a 64 gig phone device, and all of a sudden 60 or better gig is being used for pictures and apps and things. And so the resources necessary for your Healy apps to function is not available. So that's one thing. Also, secondly, I'm sure you guys have heard me say this again and again, close all of the other apps in the background. Hard close. If you don't know what hard close is, go to YouTube. I promise you that there's a rock star, movie star wanting to show you how to do it. Just Google or search within YouTube, say, how do I hard close an app on my Android, whatever. And I promise you, there'll be a resource for you. Another thing about these Google or these searches, if you go to Google and search something like that, you're probably not going to find it, right? But if you go to YouTube and search something like that, that's where a lot of the resources are. All right. It's a great question here from Jan. What is Telegram? Well, so great question. This is an app. It is a messenger app, just like say Messenger or your text function on your smart device. WhatsApp is another one. Signal. There's lots of different ones, but Telegram is an app, and you can load it on your smart device. You can set up a profile. You need to be able to you have to put in your content, your name, first and last, and then set up a profile. You can have your phone number. You have to have a phone number, but you can have it hidden in your profile so it's not seen. And then you can join the Telegram group, and that's where we put all the content. So here's what I'm going to suggest also, folks. If you haven't heard about our resources, contact your sponsor. Please contact your sponsor and ask your sponsor, whoever got you involved in Healy, get a hold of them. If they're no longer around, find out who their sponsor is. Try to find out who within your team system is leading the ship, right? And they can help you with some resources. I promise you, there's so many great people out there that want to help you succeed. And it's just a matter of creating that community around you. And of course here. Okay. What else do we got? Problem with the Pink app, it just jumps and can't use the program. So not sure what jumps mean.
I think that's the issue I was just discussing, that you click on a program and it takes you back to the main program page as well, and you can't actually load it. But again, if you're doing that and just turn off your internet connection there, go to airplane mode, whatever you need to do that, it should let you actually load the program and continue that way.
Yeah, if you're, again, what's happening? What's happening when you do what Jacob suggested? You're letting go of any other things that your smart device is trying to connect to. When it's on airplane mode, it basically shuts off all of the interface between all of the other programs. So you're not going to, it's not going to go out and seek and connect and try to input data. So that whole part of the resource consumption for your CPU or your smart device is shut off. So again, giving more resources to the app. It's a resource hungry app, and for good reasons. You understand what it's doing? It's bridging the gap between this quantum field of information, this biological and physical fields of matter. What? That's a bit of a complex profile right there. Okay.
So Paulette had a tip here that she sent to me, that when she has that issue where she can't load the program, she scrolls down to settings, checks for updates, and then goes back, and she can run the program she wants at that point. I haven't tried that, but that's certainly a very easy thing to do to test out. So if anyone's having that issue, I would certainly go ahead and give that a shot. So.
Wow.
So thanks for the tip.
That's a great, we love having tips, and log those in. Everybody write that down. Kelly says, well, to Jake, my dad passed away last year. Kelly, I'm sorry for that, for your loss. How do I transfer his watch to my mom?
Yeah, I sent her a message here directly to her with some details on that.
So maybe others want to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it basically, there's certain information that you need to provide in that type of situation in order to take control over someone who is no longer here, their device, their account, that kind of thing, especially a device transfer. And our team, compliance team, will kind of send back the documents and, sort of everything needed to move forward in that situation.
Yeah, that's some things that compliance is going to get involved in, and the customer service, right? They have to get involved in that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So Izzy says, do you see any time in the future that we'll be able to run Blue Dot programs with our phones locked? In other words, maybe not on. You know how it is when your phone is locked, even maybe no Bluetooth, all that kind of thing. So you keep accidentally stopping the program by touching my phone. So those are some settings. I want you guys to understand what the Blue Dot's doing. It's interfacing in real time. And so if it doesn't have that real-time link between the app or the program and the Healy hardware, it can't perform the function of analysis and transfer. Analysis and transfer is constantly reading and writing between the information field and the client. And that's a real-time thing. It's like, it's like breathing. It's got to be done in real time. In fact, it's kind of cool to watch the waveforms, the blue and the red waveforms as they interlace between. It's like it's oscillating and breathing and interfacing with you. I don't see, as far as technically, how the app can function when the smart device, this would be a smart device or an operating system upgrade or update. The operating system would have to have the ability for the smart device to still function even when it's turned off, essentially. And that's like turning your computer off and trying to print something on your printer. It doesn't quite work. Okay. Are we caught up already? I love all the kudos, by the way. Thanks, Jake. Some many thanks for that. I like it, you guys. Thank you so much for it. It gets us here every week.
we have a question that was sent directly to me. I think it's worth mentioning on the call here. It was asking, are we ever going to offer the charging cable for the Healy in the accessories section on the shop? And so that we aren't, and the reason for that is that it's a micro USB cable, standard cable that you can get pretty much anywhere for very inexpensive. So there's no real reason for us to offer that. There's no sort of proprietary connection or anything like that you need that cable specifically to use with the Healy. So
Exactly. They're everywhere, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
You probably have a couple laying around from other things you've had in the past. If you look into your miscellaneous drawer or something like that. So if you lost yours, look around your house first before you go out and buy one. So
good advice. How many times have you guys went and bought something and come home and you found, oh, I didn't know I had this. Right? How many coffee cups do you have? Just one of those things, you keep getting more. Let's see. So can I run the apps on 2 phones? Not at the same time, but just having the app on 2 phones and taking turns. Oh my goodness. I love this. Absolutely. And here's the fun part. You can put the apps on many smart devices, right? Because the bridge to the app's function and is the Healy. And so the Healy interfaces with any app, right? The app is just essentially a provider. It just helps you, right? It does the linking. So the only thing you do, obviously, you have the pink dot, you link it with the serial number, right? So the app links with the serial number, and then the serial number tells the app essentially what edition, what programs, all that kind of stuff. And then an update populates the app. Pretty cool. You can do that on many different phones. Now, remember, 1 Healy per app. So the Healy itself. And here's another thing I want you guys to remember. Let's say that you were doing a microcurrent program, AKA pink dot, and the program is over, right? So it's done, you completed, you're excited, and you still see that blue blinking light on the Healy. That means it's still connected to the app. All right. So then you just kind of cruise right over to the Blue Dot app, open the Blue Dot app, and try to use the Blue Dot app. Well, here's the problem. The problem is you're still actually connected to the pink dot. So you need to actually hard close the pink dot so that it releases the Healy. Because each app, when it links to that Bluetooth signal, it's a very unique Bluetooth chip in the Healy. It doesn't allow multiple devices to access it. Once it's linked, it's handshaked, it's locked in. And so it won't let anything else have it. I think that's super great because that's kind of a security measure, right? You can't get any other device trying to interface with your Healy when that app is logged on. Okay. What else we got? Distance. Okay. Let's unpack this one. Stanley, I like this question. I've heard that you can do distance therapy with the pink dot. Can we have an explanation or direction to a video that explains this? So that I'm sure that there's probably somebody that's out there. There's a video for everything, right? But let me talk to you a little bit about the pink dot and how it works and kind of how it interfaces with the Healy and what part. So number one, the pink dot was always designed to implement and give microcurrent therapy to the body. Now, with the advent of the coil then converts that microcurrent into a magnetic signal. And so again, interfacing with the body on these 2 different modalities, AKA electron flow through the body or magnetic flow as an influence. So that's what it's designed for. Now, I want you to understand that the quantum sensor that's inside there, it's also a frequency generator, noise generator. Okay, so when you activate a microcurrent program and you hit the start button, it loads it, starts running. The microcurrent goes through your body, but I want you guys to refer to the protection programs. Actually, it's not called protection anymore. What's it called, Jake?
Defense.
Defense. There you go. The defense, bioenergy, the defense. So if you take a look at that picture, you're going to see that it's just asking you to put the Healy in your pocket, whether your shirt pocket or your pants pocket. Okay. Now do a little experiment. Go ahead and hook the cables up and run the same program. You're going to find that there's microcurrent coming through and you're going to feel it. So you can actually use it either way, but it was designed to create an intentional field for the user, well, the proximity of the device, as well as the functionality of the transmitter. the frequency transmitter, AKA noise generator. All of those programs do that. So can you do intention work? Well, yes. Remember, it's still sending a signal out from the Healy. How far does that signal go? Well, thanks for asking. It's actually not real far. The maximum effective distance is the epicenter of the Healy, right here. But then it diminishes in amplitude the further away it gets. But just like a butterfly flapping its wings in one region of the planet, influencing weather patterns on a whole nother part of the planet, it's still doing the same thing. Those frequencies are still going out, and quite honestly, influencing the entire species. So when you put your attention on somebody else, let's say you've got a picture and your thought process, and you put the Healy on the picture and you send frequencies, aren't you creating a GPS signal with your attention and your energy, and then helping to more directly send those frequencies to the client? Absolutely. Absolutely. So is anything documented on that? I don't have anything. But if you understand quantum entanglement, quantum physics, any of the quantum laws, then it works. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No, you're all good.
All right. What else we got?
Let's see, where are we? There was a follow-up here before we were talking about it earlier. It says, my apps don't work that way. I've reloaded several times and the HealAdvisor app only works on one phone. So that was back to the issue of, or question about using the apps on multiple phones, not at the same time, but if you just want to have it available on both phones, the sync function doesn't work for both. So, I mean, I know for really any of the apps that I'm able to use them on multiple devices, of course, not at the same time. So I think that might be more of a device specific issue and not anything else at that point. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, there's really not, if your device meets the minimum operating system version, it should work. And remember, there is a minimum operating system version to operate the Healy apps. And the easiest way to find out what that means is that you go to your app store. So your app store. So if it's the Apple App Store, great. If it's the Google Play Store, whatever, if you are Android or Apple, go to your app store and go to the app. And then click on more information. There's a spot in there, a little drop down arrow. You might have to look kind of closely if you're doing it from your mobile device, but if you're doing it from a computer, you can see there's more information about the app, everything from about the developer, as well as versions, updates, all kinds of stuff, including compatibility, device compatibility. It's all there on your app store. So if you're not sure, go there and take a peek. Okay. It's a great resource. Okay, let's see. You're talking about, she said something about, I guess I was thinking like when you're on a YouTube or a Zoom call and can lock the screen. It's mostly for when you're outside with your horses and need both hands. I get it. I mean, your creativity, so I would just like kind of brainstorm in my own head. Well, how would I interface with my horse or horses? And, you know, managing a smart device and a piece of hardware. I mean, I'm an engineer. I would create, you know, things that would fit on the horse. I mean, I would just be, I would be making all kinds of cool stuff to have my hands free. But anyway, that would be your creativity to try to make sure that, and the phone itself is going to have to stay unlocked when you're running that blue dot. Okay. Am I behind, or let's see.
The next question I have here is, does the percent when running the Pink Dot app with the Coil doesn't matter like it does when running microcurrent program with, you know, the wristbands or the adhesive electrodes.
Yeah.
So
I like that question. I was reading the same one you were, exactly the same
okay.
time. Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we are looking at the functionality of the microcurrent, so coming out of these ports and through the medium in which it's being sent. So if it's the wires and through the body or the coil itself, when the microcurrent is going out into into its environment in which it's being sent, there's a requirement for conductivity. And what that means is, if you notice on the Healy, there's a plus and a minus right by the pins that go in here. There's a plus and a minus on the front. That's kind of like, let's say your car battery. You got a positive terminal and a negative terminal. And when you connect something to it and you turn on like a light bulb in your car, it gives power. So it's kind of a closed circuit. And you can tell the evidence of that closed circuit by what? The light bulb comes on. So the same is true with Healy. When the body is the conduit and the current is flowing properly, then the connection indicator on the app which is the white or the black indicator going around the circle, it's going to be white. That means you got proper conductivity through the medium, AKA the body. Now, if it's the coil, then you can crank that up and down based on your own personal sensation, but also to keep that indicator white. Lower frequencies are going to take a higher amplitude of power, AKA increased in intensity percentage. So if you're trying to run it at 5%, there may be some of the frequencies that will not go through, okay? Because of your body's density, all right? So when it comes to the coil, you can have a very, very low percentage and it will still have conductivity because of the coil itself. The coil is just a piece of wire essentially inside, and it works very well. Sorry about my background noise, guys. The intensity, as you increase the intensity, you're increasing current flow into the coil and upping the magnetic energy and the field. So essentially you're building the amplitude or the range of its transmission. Okay. So two things, yes, increase in range, but also amplitude. So if you're trying to increase the amplitude into the body, my puppy is wanting my attention. Sorry. That amplitude increases the intensity in your body. There's no rules that says you can't go to 100%. It's just that the higher the amplitude or the higher the percentage of intensity, the more consumption from the battery. Okay. So it's going to drain the battery faster. All right. I have also, by the way, some folks who are using the coil on a regular basis. And they're also maybe putting the Healy device inside of a case of some sort. Heat can start to build up inside the Healy, and you may smell like a plastic, like a hot plastic smell. And that's going to, I mean, you're actually increasing the heat within it. So I suggest that you let some air ventilation. If you're going to have it at 100% and cranked, have some air ventilation. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps, David. So Izzy's talking about that there's some gals who do some distant stuff with the pink dot. Yep, they sure do. Then they use a picture and intention work. Great stuff. So useful. And, you know, here's the thing. Give it a try. Do an experiment. You know, work with some people or someone and do some of this stuff and just ask them how they're doing. But remember what's important is that it's important that we let someone know what we're doing. We build a model around value. Build a model around value. If you do this kind of stuff with people who have no clue about energy at all, and there's some out there, none of you guys, of course, but there are, no clue. they may have such a high stress factor in their life, which is also causing their disorder and disease, that they won't be able to receive anything. So it's important that we work with people like that. Okay. Okay, let's see. If sending frequencies to someone for the first time, should we start with the gold programs to introduce the body, or does it only matter when using microcurrent or wristbands? So again, sensitivity is relative to the individual. I know some folks that are so highly sensitive to energy. Again, that could be, it will also include certain things around the house, right? It can influence the body. Your Wi-Fi signal, you know, phones and any of those transmissions are highly sensitive to energy or frequency. So it's important that we interact with the person, that we really work hard to understand them, and then give a little, be conservative, give a little, and then reevaluate. Yeah, you know, there's ways of kind of overdoing it energetically. What's the side effect of ever kind of overdoing the currents and the frequencies, whether it be the microcurrent or the blue dot? Honestly, the side effect, the most likely side effect, the most common side effect is like a detox sensation. Or a detox sensation. If you've ever done a deep tissue massage and you didn't maybe hydrate properly before and after, and you felt this achy stuff, you know, maybe even headaches, stiffness, fatigue, that kind of stuff, that's kind of detox. It's almost flu-like, you know, so that can be a sign that you're overdoing it. Let me give you guys a little bit about self-care protocols. I think this is important to mention on a regular basis, especially we're kind of going down this rabbit hole of maxes and amplitudes, and, you know, self-care protocol is very important when you're doing any kind of energy work. Doesn't matter if it's massage, if it's Reiki, if it's microcurrent, if it's Healy. Energy work means that you're moving energy in the body, and everything is transmitted through water. Everything. And so making sure that you're hydrated properly, and a properly hydrated body means it's half your body weight in ounces of water per day. If you're 100 pounds, that's 50 ounces of water per day. Okay. That's a good equation. That's a baseline. Secondly, making sure that, you know, you've got a good mineral content in your body. Electrolytes are important. Electrolytes are, again, a body's a conduit, it's conductive, but it requires minerals and hydration to do so. Minerals are like the spark plugs to the cells. And so that's important for healing. Number 2 is movement. You've got to move the body, because that's engaging the lymphatic system. Big, long movements, dance, yoga, you know, exercise, that kind of stuff. Get the muscles engaged, get that lymphatic system operational. The next is a good grounding process. Think about it, you know, getting outside, grounding in the earth. There's meditative practices that really help kind of visually and mentally elongate the roots of your feet into the earth and produce a grounding effect. And then one of my favorites is attitude. In other words, just fall in love with life. And that's a big part of the healing process. All right. Okay. You guys have been busy in the background.
We got a question about HealAdvisor Search from David. So he said in the training video, he said it doesn't do what it says in the training video. It says it's supposed to give me the option of selecting the issues, adding the programs to the list, and then create a schedule with the desired programs, but the app no longer has that last step to create the program schedule. Did that go away? So, you know, I did, it was back about a month ago, I was looking at the video here, May 5th, we did a little deep dive into HealAdvisor Search. I don't know if that's the training video they're referring to, but there's a specific area where you can actually create the IMF schedule. So the first part of HealAdvisor Search, where you can type in whatever you want and it gives you a list of programs, and you can kind of add those programs to your program pool and go back and run those later. That's the open search, but those programs you can't add to an IMF schedule. You can't create an IMF schedule from those particular programs. The part where you can actually add the IMF programs to a schedule is the second option in search, which is the Healy IMF Program Assistant. And that's the one where it gives you a list of topics. So it's not necessarily an open search, but there's a whole list of topics from A to Z. You pick the ones you want, you click add to schedule, and then it'll create an IMF schedule for you based off of the topics that you picked. So that is the only area where you can actually create the schedule. So that's the one that you're going to want to use. And I just checked again real quick to see if anything has changed, and everything's the same as it was when I last did the training back on May 5th. So I was able to create a new schedule just now, edit it, all that kind of thing. So I'll put a link in the chat directly to that segment that we did on the HealAdvisor Search, where we show the calendar option, because as far as I can tell, it's still working, and this is the first time this has been brought up that it isn't. But we do get a lot of confusion over the two different sections: the one where you can type it in, and then the one where you sort of pick pre-selected topics, and then it creates the schedule for you. They're both easy to use, but if you're just using it for the first time, I can certainly understand where there would be some confusion over adding the topics to your program pool versus adding the programs or topics to a schedule. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool dual purpose, right? I mean, the freedom of really just putting a search word in there, or the other way of creating a schedule. One's a little bit more conforming to less versatile when it comes to a specific word. And it makes sense to me, because Healy actually had to create some protocols when it came to creating schedules and stuff like that, as opposed to just giving recommendations and you create your own protocol, right? Makes sense. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm kind of behind a little bit, I think. Let's see. Hey, I want to mention something. We're getting into the summer season. In some places it's already getting warmer. And I want you to remember that, and the cool thing about summer, we can be looking like this in the video with a shirt and tie and be in shorts or whatever. Right. I mean, I'm just saying. Anyway, the Healy has a temperature threshold. It has a maximum and a minimum temperature in which it should be exposed to. So if you leave your Healy in the car and it's maybe 80 degrees outside and it becomes 100 and plus in the inside, it will be too much for the Healy. And you can actually, in your owner's manual, gives a temperature range, safe range for the Healy. So keep that in mind, that we want to make sure that we're taking good care of the hardware.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because in case you didn't know, in our warehouses, we actually have a temperature and humidity monitoring system in place because of the FDA classification as a class 2 medical device. We have to track to make sure that the devices are stored within that specific range that's listed on the box itself. So that there are specific regulations for the Healy device itself, and also the adhesive electrodes too have a specific range. If you notice on the little plastic packaging, there's a temperature range listed on there, and humidity too.
Yeah, the sticky pads, I mean, that's kind of obvious. I mean, you may have noticed the cooler they are, the more solid, the hotter they are, the more gooey. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Running. Okay. So Paula sent me a private message here. It says, I'm running Coherence, drinking water, and my line is solid black. And the cables are good. So there's a way of checking the cables. So thanks for that, putting that little piece in there. what's the amplitude that you're using it? What's the setting? So there's if you're running the wristbands, I just want to show you real quickly, everybody. If you're running a program and it goes black, okay, step one, check all your connections, right? It's important that there's hydration or some kind of a conduction between the strap and the skin. There's just some skin types that are just dry, and there's just not a lot of connection between the strap and the skin. So let alone getting through the body. So we have to start there. And if one of the ways that you can kind of hack that is you can take a cotton ball and moisten a cotton ball and just tuck it in between the strap and the skin. And that moist cotton ball will help to improve conductivity. Another way is conductive gel. That's another way. But if all else fails and you've done everything, all right, you've done everything that you could possibly think of, and you still get a black indicator, then the last thing you can do is you can take the straps off. So pause the program, take the straps off. You don't know how to pause the program, just tap the center of that oscillating circle and it'll pause. And it'll show you a little X on the side. Okay, take the straps off your body, take the inside portion, right? Opposite side of the snap. So here's the snap part, the inside portion that would normally touch your skin, touch them together, right at the snap point, touch them together, and then start the program. And does it go to white? If it goes to white, then we know that all the hardware components, the straps, the cables, the Healy hardware itself is good. That means it's good. Then we got to research ourselves. And I'm telling you, I have had very few, and none of you guys here I know. I've had some very resistive personalities. Now, I know what that's, wait a minute. My body's water and conductive material and electrolytes, but my personality can stop the transfer of energy. Yeah. Your mind's the most powerful thing you've got. And the moment you decide that you're going to resist the possibility of healing, there's nothing that can help you. Nothing. So step into your power first and then research why it's not receiving. So check your hardware. If it's all good, then check yourself. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We had another question about HealAdvisor Search. So I put a link into the chat, just the one above the most recent comment here. That was specifically about, it goes right to the segment on the IMF schedule. But if you watch, there's additional segments within that particular episode there about HealAdvisor Search, adding programs to the program pool, changing reminders, setting reminders, that kind of thing. So if you haven't seen that yet, I would definitely go ahead and watch that, each of the segments on HealAdvisor Search. But the question was, when I add programs to the pool or use the IMF schedule, do you have to start each program individually, or will they automatically start as the last one finishes? So couple things there. One, it's not, it will give you in the IMF schedule, you can set it to give you a reminder of when it's time to run that particular program, but it's not going to automatically do that without you opening your phone again or your smart device and actually clicking start program. It'll take you from HealAdvisor Search to the Pink Dot app, as long as your Pink Dot app is also open. It'll take you to that program to run it, but it's not a fully automated thing where it's gonna like strap on the wristbands and sort of do all that for you. But it's definitely helpful to have those reminders set up. Whatever time of the day, you can adjust what time, or if you want a morning, afternoon, or evening reminder for your programs, so that it's fully customizable about when you can run them and what time you'll get the reminder. The ones from the program pool, those again, you're not going to get a reminder for the ones from the program pool, because that's just kind of a list of your favorites essentially, but you can click on it from within the HealAdvisor Search and it'll take you to the Pink Dot app to run that program. But the second part of the question is the one I think you need to be careful with is, will they automatically start as the last one finishes? So if you have 3 programs for your day in the IMF schedule, is it going to take you one right after the other, right after the other? And no, because you should not be running 3 programs back to back to back in the the Healy Pink Dot app. Ken, I know you have some good tips with that as far as spacing them out in between. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, when it comes to whenever we implement anything in our body, I'm always an advocate for self-analysis, right? I mean, if you're running back to back to back, so what I say earlier was some of the side effects. Remember, there's some side effects that could, and that's just, some people can handle more than others. So I've been with Healy for like 2.5 years, and I'm constantly an experiment, but I won't tell you how many programs a day I do.
well, in general, though, the recommendation that, is kind of put out there of 3 to 4 programs per day. Certainly when you first start, you might want to go a little bit lower. And then, as Ken mentioned, over time, you might increase that. But it's not 3 to 4 programs all at once. It's best to space those out throughout the day.
So there was a question earlier, and I don't know that we actually got into it. It talked about, how do you introduce maybe to the body, right? And the gold cycle frequency programs, the gold cycle page, the gold page it was built for everybody. And you notice that there's 7 programs on there. You can actually just do 1 per day for the week, right? And then that can kind of get you moved into using it. There's also, protocols with, say, the deep cycle or deep cycle H. There's some things that are moving you progressively into the use of the microcurrent. But if you don't have that, first of all, know that the gold cycle is on the gold page is on every edition. Start there. Take a look at the programs on there and just see what intuitively hits you. Like, if you're having a slow day and you're feeling a little bit beaten and you see that program that says energy, hey, makes sense to me, right? I could use a little boost. Or there's one that maybe you're just a little tense and you need to relax. Well, guess what? Use those intuitive gifts to figure out what program to use. Okay. Cotton ball trick work. All right. Yay, Paula. Thanks for that feedback. So again, when you get the black indicator, little cotton ball in there, but make sure it's wet. Obviously that's going to help. It's got to be nice and wet. Now, remember, you can get some conductive gel. That works really good. That's, you can look online. I like to use stuff that's organic or natural, so it doesn't take much. I simply do, when I'm going to put on my wristbands, here's what I do. All right. I simply just run my wrist under the water, both sides. I put them on. These wristbands, you're not going to hurt them really. They're pretty tough. Oh my gosh, I got too much water. I only have to have 1 drop. No, I run it under the water, hook my wristbands in, and then I dab a towel to dry the excess. And then I'm good to go. The cool thing about these wristbands is that the newer style, a while back, we had a different style wristband and they were breathable. Yeah. It sounds like it'd be cool, right? Well, it is. But the problem is that the moisture that goes in there dries out, goes away. And these, they're not breathable, which kind of helps because maybe a little sweat under there. That's a good thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see. Wow. 50 minutes already went by, you guys. I don't know. Just seems like a conversation with everybody. I just love you guys being here. It's awesome. It's like hanging out with the family. All right. What else we got?
We're pretty caught up here. There was a tip in here about, speaking of making sure properly hydrated under the wristbands. There's a dollar store handy chamois, which can be cut into squares and used as well to help. So
I love it. That's what's the goal? The goal is just to have some kind of a hydrated medium in which you could transfer current. Electron flow is actually pretty easy to accomplish. It takes a very low amplitude to make that happen. First of all, when the body's a little bit more balanced, the more energetically misaligned you are, In other words, the more in that fight or flight or that sympathetic nervous system, the more resources your body is using to just keep you surviving. And that means everything. I mean, it's going to remove certain flow to the extremities. When you go into fight or flight, folks, I want you to understand a couple of very, very important things. Non-essential systems just go offline. When you're in stress response, non-essential systems go offline because it's got to preserve energy so that it can keep you alive. One of the first non-essential system is digestion, goes offline. Number 2 is your immune suppression, your immune system goes offline. Number 3, reproduction goes offline. It's no time to make life when you're running for your life. I mean, right? And so also the blood flow starts to reduce from the outer extremities, to keep the system, the main organs operational, as well as your blood pressure will go up because the blood thickens. So, manage really well that stress response, because even Healy is probably not going to overcome that. All right. What else? Let's see. So it says here, I'm brand new and have not set up my Healy yet. I have some hiccups trying today. Should I set up blue or pink first, or does it matter? Great question. I actually usually go with the pink dot first. That's just my thing because it actually helps to engage a connection between your account and the Healy, because you got to have, it scans the serial number, downloads the programs. It's pretty quick. So I start with the pink dot. And I want you to remember too, that the apps, when you load the apps on your smart device, they're just essentially skeletal structures. There's nothing in it. I mean, you can load the apps anytime. You don't have to own a Healy to load the apps. They won't do anything, but you can load them. So the moment that you load the app, you would go through the process of answering the questions. They're kind of intuitive. First question. First part is to agree to the disclosure or the disclaimer. Number 2, yes, I have a Healy. Click on that. Number 3, it's going to scan and it's going to ask you to look at the serial number, input the serial number, scan it or manual. Then it's going to do an update. All right. The blue dot, there's a little bit different process. It takes a little bit longer, but still, you're just going to need some login credentials. All right. So when you're first setting up, there is a resource. It is on the YouTube page as well. Healy for Beginners and Beyond. That's on the same page as the Tech Tip Tuesday recordings and all those kind of things. So Healy for Beginners and Beyond is a great resource because there's kind of an unboxing, there is an unboxing, as well as detailed information about the apps, and there's different things for different episodes, some specialty things, but all of them pretty much give you a starting point. Let's see what else.
We had an interesting program. So Ken, I think 2 weeks ago now, you did a segment on What's Up Wednesday about the digital nutrition app. And there's a question here. Somebody's mom just got the digital nutrition, is asking what's the difference between one of those the I program versus the I program in one of the other pink dot apps. So for instance, in bioenergetic harmony, there's a program called Eyes. And that one is actually 65 minutes long. So it's one of the longer program, but you'll notice there's also a program in the digital nutrition app that is called, where'd it go? It's only 15, it's called Eyesight. So Eyes versus Eyesight. And the one in the digital nutrition is a very short, I think it's one of the shortest programs, 15 minutes long there. And then as far as the differences, I don't know the complete differences, but the ones for digital nutrition, as Kenny kind of went into a little bit of detail on that last call, those contain the frequencies for specific substances. And that program is the whole digital nutrition. If you read through the Healy app manual, it's available in your back office or through the Healy Pink Dot app, you'll see that it says that these programs should be applied directly after a meal. So it's sort of a different purpose behind the whole thing. That's the whole digital nutrition versus the regular Pink Dot app program. So certainly you could use both together. I would say if you want, or just use one for a week and the other one for another week, and kind of see which one is best for you. But,
Yeah, I love that. The versatility.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as, say, maybe a fitness program, an exercise program, is keeping the body in constant flux and shift and changes. Otherwise you tend to acclimate to something, but just keep rotating and you never will. There's a condition in the fitness industry called a plateau. You know, you get to a certain point and the body plateaus because it's adapted to all of the things you're doing. So then you just change one little thing. And I'm talking about change one aspect of an angle. And all of a sudden the body has to relearn this new process. And yeah, so that's what this is doing. It gives you variety.
Yep.
Yay.
Okay.
All right. Couple more minutes. All right.
Yeah, let's
Jeez,
see.
here we go. Power round. Let's see. Let's see. There's one here says I don't know if we got this one. The loading data ran for close to 10 to 15 minutes. So I shut down. Okay. Not sure. So, loading data, if you're doing it in the blue dot and it's loading data, it's databases and such. If that's what you're talking about, 10 or 15 minutes is nothing. Let it run. But if you're talking about like transferring a program from the Pink Dot to the Healy hardware, and it went for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that's way too long. Something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to take a look at, is the Bluetooth light flashing? Are you actually connected to the Healy? Shut down the app and start again. And if it does it again, shut down the app and start again. I mean, there's a connection thing that's not working right. It'll fix it. It'll work. You know what? I'm going to tell you a little hint, you guys. You want to know my secret? Intention. I don't have problems. I can't tell you. I got 6 Healys. I can run them all at the same time. You know what? I don't have problems. Yeah, okay. I know a lot of the aspects and the deep dive of how things work, but I don't use all of my tools or techniques. I keep an intention that I just love life and I know it's going to work. This is a big piece of the equation, everyone. Please just understand there's a big piece to the equation of your success, and it's called you. So let's get on board and be part of that success story, right? It lights me up, and I use a little secret weapon, which is called my love, my heart. Come from there. I don't know. Maybe you can tell. Okay. Last question. Anything, Jake?
No, not really. Just anything to close out with any reminders. I know we got, of course, What's Up Wednesday tomorrow. And those who didn't know, there was supposed to be a Frequencies and Friends this Thursday. There was a scheduling issue, so that actually got pushed. So that's not actually going to happen this Thursday, in case any of you missed the communication that went out today on that. And we're still trying to put together the content for our next Healy for Beginners and Beyond. We're not going to have one this Thursday. We're trying to save up the next one to do a sort of a Mag Healy, not deep dive, I would say. Shallow dive, because it's a little too early to go into it, but we're not quite there yet as far as being able to show certain things in the app, because it's a little bit too early in the beta stage still. But we're working on a plan to put together some great content soon. So.
Yeah. Okay. Last question before we shut down. There was an issue with the availability of the app on the app stores. Some of you all should have gotten an email on Friday, kind of telling about, oops, sorry, there was a privacy thing that had some updates had to be done. They were pulled down so that work could be done, but it should be back up now. If you guys are having any problems, submit a support ticket, but it's working.
Yeah, it's there. So.
Thanks, Ashley, for that question. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody for these questions. Yeah, this is great. It keeps us sharp. It keeps you informed, and it keeps the ball rolling. All right, everybody. Hey, we're at the end of the hour, and man, that went quick. So thank you for being here. Next week, we'll be doing the same thing. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for the What's Up Wednesday. And as Jake said, the Frequency and Friends is not going on, but we'll certainly give you lots of content tomorrow. Please be there, and do me a favor, go out there and invite somebody that is not normally here. The attendance to some of our things that we're trying to do is a direct reflection to the questions that everybody has. The more you attend, the more you learn, the more you understand, and we can now give a better understanding of how Healy is working and what we can do for everybody. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Everyone.